a short but sweet little presentation here, 10 slides of just reviewing flipping the classroom, as you can see. And yeah, here we go. So this is just kind of some food for thought before you start this week's learning activity. And it also kind of replaces us being a tech lab face-to-face work night setting. So this is the presentation from Scholastica and myself about flipped classrooms that I would be showing you if we had an actual face-to-face work night. Okay, let's get started. All right, so, okay, it's like flipping the traditional classroom, as you know, hence why it's called flipped classroom. All right, you guys have probably already read a lot about this already in the first week. And yeah, so this one's pretty self-explanatory. I do like the graphic, though, if you've ever need to show it to other coworkers. One thing I do like about flipped classroom when it has worked for me is the actual activity time that I set aside when I see my students the next class, to get stuff done. If they all have internet access and I can count on them to actually watch my tutorials, that is, the night before. We'll get into that more later. Okay, another little graphic here. Traditional versus flipped. I do like this. You have a question and answer time with the video that they were supposed to watch the night before. I kind of like this graphic, how it has a time breakdown. What's nice is flipping the flipped classroom. If you saw that activity, I thought that was very, very smart option as well. That if you do have those students who at home it simply doesn't work for them to do flipped activities, watching videos and such, whether they don't have Wi-Fi or their culture of their family, it just simply doesn't work, or other issues, then starting your activity the next day, and the first thing to actually do would be during this time, the warm-up would be everybody would be watching that video again. Even if they've already seen it, it's a nice review, or maybe they could be doing something else, but that could serve as a time for those students who didn't see it, for them to see it for the first time. Okay, moving on. Another Bloom's taxonomy. I'm sure you're familiar with that, but this is the traditional versus flipped Bloom's taxonomy, and I like seeing that. It's pretty interesting. And I like this. The teacher's guidance is needed the most near the top of the pyramid, obviously. I would say, with my experience, especially during the creating, when they're actually getting down to the nitty-gritty creating, and I would have it one of my flip lessons that they would create at school, so I can guide them through it and help them. But some of the creating, that ownership needs and responsibility needs to be done by the students at home too. And I've only done flipped lessons with 4th and 5th graders with their iPads, the one-to-one devices we have in our district. I've not done it with younger students. I think that'd be challenging, but I think it could be done. A lot of you have already expressed ideas how you do that with primary kids, which is awesome. So some more tips here of just kind of putting all this together. Next slide. Here's some interesting data. The modern learner, let's say, middle to high school and even elementary kids spend about 6 hours a day with media, especially the older kids, older students. And 26% of our kids use 2 types of media simultaneously. That would even be my own 2 kids. I can't believe it. They're 6 and 8 years old, and they put a TV show on Netflix, and they get out their iPad during their screen time at home. Screen time hour, I should say. Yeah, don't know how I feel about that, but they make it work. It's a journey, right? Okay. All right, so we do have to compete with modern technology, obviously, and it just keeps growing. Okay, especially gaming is top here. Gaming is huge. I know lots of adults, even myself, I'll do a little gaming now since my 8-year-old son is into his Nintendo Switch and such. But the bottom line is millennial learners, and you guys, a lot of you are around my age or younger, are frustrated with the traditional education. I, myself, even when I took my grad classes, and the classes I still take, I really struggle with just the sit and get lecture. If the lecture goes over, it seems like 5 or 10 minutes, I get antsy and distracted, and I'm 40. So our millennial learners are even more hypersensitive than that, as you know. And maybe even yourself. Much like me, I need to engage, I need to talk, I need to move when I learn. All right, the pros and cons of flipped learning. Some of these are obvious. I do like the increased teacher contact time, where you can go sit down and get into the nitty gritty of what kids are struggling with their assignment that you want them to do or work. You can also set up your universal design learning tactics to help all your students as well with all their diverse needs in that flipped model of work time and stations as well. I really like the stations idea for any grade, whether it's kindergarten or 12th grade math. The cons, student trust is huge, and we can't really blame some families, whether they have trauma at their household, other, say, poverty issues at their household, or simply if mom and dad work at night and older brothers and sisters are in charge of them. Kids are probably not always going to get their stuff done, especially in the flip model. So I rarely have had success, and it's a work in progress. When I taught fourth grade a couple years on my own, I had success with it, but that was just my own, set of 25 kids. Now I have 5 fourth grade classes as a technology teacher, and some classes it's just really hard for some students to get them things done, and they get behind in projects. So yes, and the teacher workload is up front, creating videos and all that, but I think as you do it more, just like any skill, it gets easier and you learn from your mistakes with it. It's not for people who really are focused on control or micromanaging people. It seems to be really hard for them. Doesn't mean those people can't. I've just seen more people struggle with it, but they still do it though. So, yeah. Okay. So, a lot of you hinted at in your comments of blogging in the first discussion is how you could just start small, and that was a great idea for whatever level you're teaching. Starting small with a flipped lesson or just an aspect of something to get going. Once you actually start your professional teaching is smart. For your project, I think you need to think out, plan out, and organize everything you would do, from the flipped video to what the kids are going to do at home from the video they watch, the screencast they watch, whether they go online and say create something in Google Doc or Google Slides, and then or another website, say they go to Scratch or a math website, okay, and complete a task, things of that nature. And then the other activities that they'll do when they come back to see you during the actual work time, face-to-face work time. What would they be doing? What would that look like? Are you going to have stations available for everyone, which I highly recommend? Things of that nature. Or even peer editing / small group work too, instead of stations. Okay, moving on. All right, does it work? Okay, it's a work in progress, and I do agree it does work, but there's a caveat there. It's always changing to make it successful for all of our diverse learners. I know at my school, we have 55% students of color and 57% students on free and reduced lunch or poverty. So that's a lot of diversity. And flipped lessons work sometimes, and sometimes they're a real challenge. Here's some other schools who've had success, which is cool to see. I would say Farmington in the Twin Cities have had success, but I know some of those teachers have expressed the same things that I've just talked about too. As challenges, that is. All right. In the class flip, okay, you can see this is kind of more basic information. Okay. And this is huge. Obviously, the technology gap. All right. Okay, so this is online learning has become a real huge hot topic and focus because of COVID-19, as you're aware of, because you're doing it now. Okay, so as you can see here, and I think there should be another bullet point here that says tech support, because guess who does that for my school? I'll be doing heavy. Unfortunately, I'll be probably having to focus on staff and family and student tech support with all these devices over my teaching the next few weeks. And once everybody gets settles in, all parties, teachers, parents, and students, then I think I can really focus more on my teaching. So I think that aspect is what almost every classroom teacher who is teaching online during this time, which was unexpected online learning for many of us, is going to have to realize that first. They're going to have tech support, and comfortability needs to come over the actual learning first to get everybody on board and comfortable before they can actually learn. All right. So when you're using videos, please make them short and sweet. Like, I wouldn't make them longer than 10 minutes. Just think about yourself in the actual classroom. I start losing attention span, so to speak, after about 10 minutes. But you could make a longer video and just tell them you need to stop the video here and do some work. Then almost like make chapters, so to speak. I've done that in the past when kids are, say, making a scratch coding project. The video might be 15 minutes long, but I'll tell them when to stop the video and then go work on their project and come back to the video. So there's an idea too. All right, so this is not meant to be perfect. You be you. So just try your best with this. It's actually quite fun and new to put together a flipped video. So good luck, and I'll talk to you soon.